Dang it, Bobby. On this week's episode of Cartoon Buffoons, I'm your host, Wyatt. And who is here with me today, as always?
Hi, I'm Morgan. I'm Helga G. Pataki, but I'm from South Philly.
Yeah, and who is our very special guest for today's episode?
Hey, you know me well, and nobody else. It's your best friend, Broden.
Yes, it's the most famous guest that we have had on the show so far. Our friend Broden.
Subscribers.
Yeah, dude. So here we are, finally talking about the fan favorite, beloved, long-lasting,
very
show.
Easy to watch on streaming sites.
Very easy to watch in good quality too, not terrible
absolutely.
AI upscaled versions on YouTube.
Released on DVD.
Yeah, with episodes missing for some reason. Time Squad. We're talking about Time Squad. So, Broden, before we get into talking about the show, I want to ask, do you have any history? I doubt you have any history with the show, but do you have any history with Cartoon Network or the shows from the network in general? You know,
or whatever the fuck they call Cartoon Network in Australia. So
yeah,
it's still Cartoon Network.
It's hard to know. You call shit
because like Canada,
stuff. I can't tell.
In Canada, they're like, oh yes, Teletoon and YTV. I'm like, what is this bullshit?
Fair enough.
What's going on here?
I'm chanting USA at these damn Canadians. I'm joking. Go ahead, Broden.
I mean, look, we're not fucking Canada, all right? Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
That being said, I technically do have some parsed with Time Squad, although it is very, very, very light. I kind of associate this specific show with very early morning cartoons, literally around the time that I am currently up right now, like around 2 a.m., the type of shit that would play on, like, public TV when you open your eyes blearily and you just see that robot design, that big dude, and you hear Mark Hamill do a sissy voice, and you go, and then you go back to sleep. I associate it with shows like I associate it, for some reason, with another show that always came on around the same time called The Adrenalini Brothers.
Okay.
And
is that a Cartoon Network show?
I don't believe so. I don't know what the fuck. It's like a silent slapstick show that goes for like 3 minutes about Circus Brothers. Whatever. It's fine. But like Cartoon Network shows in general, for the longest time, they were breadcrumb to me and other kids like me who didn't have cable or the equivalent. Yeah. It was just whatever happened to get through on, like, syndicated and all that on random.
This looks really bad.
Channels.
The
Adrenalini Brothers. How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you? That is a classic.
Apparently it's a UK. Like, it aired in the Cartoon Network in the UK.
That sounds.
So should we do an episode about it?
Wyatt. Do we look British to you? Fuck you. No, we're not doing it. Why'd you even ask me?
To be completely transparent, there is nowhere near enough material. There just isn't.
But there is with Time Squad. So
yes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, with Cartoon Network, I didn't get to see the true CN until my as I like to say, my MRF, or morally reprehensible father, got cable, and then instead of I don't know, any other way that I wouldn't actually interact with him, I would watch Cartoon Network and other shit. For the last, 2 years of seeing him, that fucking ruled. Honestly, that was sick. But that's...
Did he steal cable? Was he like...
No, I think, at that point, the latest woman he randomly managed to get to like him just had money. Yeah. So...
She's a real opposite of Bandit Healer from,
yeah,
trying to culturally connect with you there.
Buddy, absolutely.
Yeah. But I was too poor to have stolen cable, actually. So that was like...
What does that mean, you're too poor to have stolen cable?
Like, they couldn't even afford to steal cable. Like,
motherfucker, that's a work ethic issue. That's not on, like, being too poor. You guys didn't want to do the work to steal cable.
They didn't want it hard enough.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
you're American, goddammit.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's the thing. Like, I hear from so many like friends and everything. Like, oh yeah, we definitely had stolen cable in like the late '90s, early 2000s. But like, I didn't have cable until I moved to the city, and that was in like 2003. I was like 8 years old at that point, and most of my cartoon knowledge was like from when on the weekends I would visit my like grandma or grandpa or whatever, and they had cable and watching like SpongeBob or Scooby-Doo. Whatever on their TVs and like Dragon Ball Z and things. Do you guys know I like Dragon Ball? Anyway,
no, I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware.
but Morgan, do you? Yeah, go ahead.
I was watching Dragon Ball before I could comprehend what it was. It was awesome.
Bro, it was just like the risk of a seizure to you. It was just shiny colors.
Yeah, it was fun. Loved it.
Do I have a relationship to Time Squad? Do I, Morgan? Yes, I do actually. A stronger one than I think the average person. Because I spent a lot of my younger years doing a little mix of things, you know? I was a bad child who got into a lot of fights. But also, I love the book. I love to read a book. I love to read a book. So I was so happy, like, oh, this little show about they're talking about stuff that I know because I like to read. This is so great. This is so cool. I remember watching Time Squad and just like, it was such a nice thing to see a show where I'm like, I know this. I know this. Just in a room by myself, very insane, like my mind. Just look at TV, looking over at a blank quarter, saying, "I know this information also." But I remember the one thing about Time Squad that like one episode I remember specifically because I thought it was stupid and I didn't like it as a child, and it made me never want to watch the show again. There's an episode where they make a poop joke. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it here. I don't think it was on it wasn't on the YouTube, like the stream we have. So I'm gonna have to bring up this episode for like straight up what my mind remembers about it. But yeah, I remember that made me stop watching it because Time Squad was just like it wasn't a nothing show. But when I was a kid, it just wasn't one I was like drawn to. I do remember, however, guys, we're about to enter the new segment called Morgan's Fusion Fall Corner. Okay. Everyone, we're going to the Fusion Fall Corner.
Hell yeah.
There's a Time Squad mission in Fusion Fall. There's no characters from Time Squad in the show.
Right.
But Larry 3000 gets decapitated and his head gets flung through time. And you have to find it in order to send you back to the past in order to make sure the world doesn't end.
Play the shitty games that suck ass.
That's the fuck you. that's the the beta for Fusion Fall is being in the future where everything sucks. And in order to get to the main game with like the open servers and good stuff like that, you have to go to the past. And to get that way, you have to do the beta story mission of finding Larry 3000's head. He's dead, though. He's dead.
Damn.
It's crazy that they just killed the Time Squad.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Otto the Child is dead, too. Like, they just killed all the Time Squad characters.
What's going on with, like, these Cartoon Network games where they're, like... Because remember, we talked about how, like, Prickles the Cactus and shit showed up in, like, that one... other Cartoon Network
the resort game. The resort game.
Yeah. It's like, what's going on? Where they're just like, eh. It would be like if now they made a Cartoon Network game and then they had like Mau Mau in it. It's like you canceled the show and like did a tax write-off or whatever. Like, what's going on? Why is
how dare you?
Yeah.
It's like if Nickelodeon did a fighting game and you could play as Harvey Beaks.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be good. They should do that. Honestly,
I said that just to make you sad.
They should have that in the fucking Nickelodeon. Because if they can put Jenny in the Nickelodeon fighting game, then why the hell can't they?
Wyatt, you are arguing that Harvey Beaks has the same impact as XJ9. Get it together.
That is true. It's not Coomer bait, so it's definitely a different...
shut the fuck up. I should kill you.
That's the... look, I love My Life's a Teenage Robot, but...
Me too.
You've seen
things.
Enough people online that have a certain relationship with Jenny. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, they should put the Mighty Bee. What the fuck's her fucking name? Amy Winehouse was the lady that did the.
Amy Winehouse. Amy Poehler.
Amy Poehler. That's it.
Amy Winehouse.
Holy
wow, guys,
shit.
Guys, the energy on this one's going to be interesting. Everybody listening, I'm sorry.
I mean,
the
that was.
I
feel like that was about as jarring as some of the shit in Time Squad. To be honest, what was just
oh yeah.
So
we should get to Time Squad because there is some fucking choices in this cartoon.
Yeah.
God.
Well, to go over my history real quick, it was very similar to what Broden said, where. Like, to me, it was just a show that was on at, like, 4:30 in the morning. Like, it was just, like, on very early. You wake up early, and you're accidentally awake, and you see it on the TV. And then, like, you watch an episode with the sound, like, the volume turned all the way down, and you're just, like, watching the images. Like, that's my relationship with Time Squad. And then, eventually, Transformers Cybertron came on, and it's like, they're still on the fucking Speed Planet. Come on,
dude.
Guys,
did you get Clockwork Orange with fucking Time Squad? You just turned
and then we're gonna do a Transformers Cybertron episode.
Yes, we fucking are, dude. I don't want to be annoying.
I guess we have to do Armada and Energon.
No, we really don't. We really don't.
Maybe we should do all three as like one episode, because I don't know if I have. I mean, I definitely have a lot of things to say about Energon, but I don't know how good or productive it's going to be.
Maybe we should just talk about Megatron brutally murdering Hotshot with a machine gun, and then never talk about anything else.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fucking cool.
Yeah. But so that's kind of my relationship with Time Squad. I always thought it was one of those like secret shows, you know? You know how you have secret shows?
Yeah, shows that you bring up at school and they go, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yes.
Like this and whatever happened to Robot Jones and
no, that's a banger. If you don't know what that is, you don't know ball. That's my opinion.
I agree. I think it's a good. I mean, we haven't gotten to the episode yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
When the fuck is the? I swear to God, we should have seen it at this point. Did I just?
Let me, viewers. I'm gonna make you aware of something.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make you aware of something. We're doing this on vibes. We will hit every show, but it's on vibes, my nigga. It's really on vibes. Yeah.
Like, oh my God, Robot Jones came after, like, Justice League. Like, Justice League was before.
That's
before
weird.
Robot Jones. Robot Jones was 2002.
Also, wait.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know we just talked about not doing the European show that Broden brought up. I do think we should do the Cramp Twins.
I have the Cramp Twins on the list.
Okay, let's fucking go. All right, great.
Good God,
don't worry, because that is a cartoon.
Broden, you don't need to, dude. It's about twin brothers, but one of them moaned when he got spanked as a baby. I'm not kidding. That's in the opening. Anyway, Time Squad. So let's see what Time Squad is. I'm just giving a general breakdown real quick. Time Squad is about a police force that goes through time to fix things that aren't correct. Now you might think this means not interfering and trying to make stuff go naturally. No, they interfere like a motherfucker. In the first episode, they find a orphan and adopt him. I'm using adopt real loose because they kind of just take him.
Right.
And that's their setup. He knows history. They go to a time place. He reads a history book encyclopedia he has in his head. Explains who the historical figure is. And they got to get the historical figure back on track. This seems very open and closed and very basic, like almost like an educational TV show.
Yeah.
I'm telling you it's not.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that this show is about as educational as being beaten with a history book. I mean, like, technically, there's stuff to be learned, but you're being attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, the whole show, I mean, we said before, it's like a parody of, like, those,
like Peabody and Sherman?
Yeah, Mr.
Right?
Peabody and Sherman, and those kind of shows. It has that same, like, UPA style that was kind of in vogue at the time. I thought it had some connection to Clone High. Just from the art design, like the character
that would have made sense for this.
Look very Clone High-esque, but I think it is just like the general art trend at the time. But it it's the same type of humor. Like, oh, isn't it funny that we're twisting these like historical figures and doing things with it. I'll say that the in Clone High, the Attila the Hun in that is much funnier than the one in Time Squad, because even though I think the idea of turning him into like a Jerry Lewis is like a funny twist, you know, it still is like the way that they do it in Clone High is just so funny.
Speaking of Attila the Hun, and we're going to talk about this like in general. I don't know if the show has gay people working on it or if gay is dude, I don't know.
Oh yeah, the amount of gay jokes for Larry is just like completely. Dude. I was like, oh my god, this is borderline homophobic.
In my notes after the first episode, I put, oh, we're gonna be hearing a lot of that specific gay stereotype voice, though, huh?
Dude.
And then later went back and put, yes, I was very much correct.
Dude, they told Mark Hamill of Star Wars fame, they broke his wrist to make it limp enough to fucking voice this character. This is crazy. Like, the thing is, though, I would be offended as a gay person. However, the jokes start affecting other characters.
Yeah.
Because then they start making gay jokes about the big buff cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
so it's just go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, the entire character dynamic between Todd Russell and Larry is just that they are a bad marriage.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, like that just becomes like not like in a you'd read it. No, there's an episode where you see stuff from Todd Russell's like perspective, and Larry like has like hearts around his head, and like, oh, you're so strong, and I'm like, what are you? Like, we've wrapped around from being offensive to just like, is this just toxic yaoi? Have we wrapped around to like, you guys are just I don't know, man. There's a lot of gay jokes.
I am kind of into it as a toxic yaoi sort of thing.
It
does remind me of Mission Hill with
the gay girl from Mission. Yeah, exactly.
Like that kind of dynamic. Though but like bad. That they're a little bit more like, obviously that one's like there's no allegory. It's just literally they're gay.
Yes.
And there's a little bit more loving there, whereas like I do kind of like this era of Cartoon Network. And we'll get more into it when we get to like Billy and Mandy and like Evil Con Carne. Like, all the characters just don't like each other. I mean, like, Otto is like a naive, like, optimistic kid, but like everybody else is like Larry hates both of them, and like you know, Todd Russell's so like condescending and so, you know, like egotistical.
Let's go, buddy, come on.
Yeah. So it's just like there's no like sense of unity. It's just pure like chaos and comedy, which is fine, and I think it works for a show that is, you know, it's 11 minutes. It's
the first season was 15 minutes and then 7 every episode, which is insanity.
Sometimes it would be weirder. Sometimes it would be 15 minutes 4 and 2.
Yeah, no, like, there was the occasional triple.
The thing is, though, I think the show plays with like a dynamic that I think is really funny, where it's all goofs. These guys all hate each other, right? Mm-hmm. But also, there's sometimes where they just like straight up feel like a family derogatorily.
Yes. No, yeah.
It's such an like, I think it's a dynamic we don't play enough when we're like, gags come first, but these guys are a family, just a dysfunctional, shitty. Sometimes your found family sucks, and I think that's the funniest possible joke to have in a show like that. Like, I really found myself like coming in like, man, this show is so undone. Like, so strange that I'm kind of really digging it. I'm kind of really getting into it.
Oh, yeah.
I do have to say, sometimes a Time Squad episode joke isn't funny.
What?
I would say most times it's not, because here's my like thesis on the show.
Yeah.
It's fun. It is a fun show. It is entertaining to watch. Mm-hmm. I didn't really laugh that much throughout watching the show, even with things that should have been a knockout for me. I was just like, that's clever, funny. Sure. So, you know.
A perfect example of that is, I talked about the poop joke.
Right.
There's the episode that is not in the thing we watch, but it's the episode where they got to go talk to the Earl of Sandwich, who just invented a new food, the sandwich. but he named it a stinking pile of poo. Because he said that's his mother's middle name. Yeah. And that is the entire joke. Yeah. The entire joke for the whole runtime is that he named his sandwich a stinking pile of poo so people won't eat it. And I want to go to the people like right now, like, hey guys, look, this is not a joke to build 10 minutes off of.
Yeah, this is really gotta get one scene, like maybe. But...
Literally, I have like some sort of strange sleeper like thing in the back of my head that was that line. And when I told my partner that I was going to be on the Time Squad episode, that's all they said. It was like, stinky pile of poo. And I was like, what?
No, because it's such a strong joke. Not strong as in like it's funny. Strong as in like
it's memorable.
It's so unfunny that you remember it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That like I can't believe they set up a 10-minute episode about such a nothing joke. I think it's ballsy to make a 10-minute episode about such a nothing joke.
Thing is, I was expecting more of that kind of thing because of that.
No, and sometimes they're clever.
At least in the episodes I came across, that wasn't as often as I thought it would be.
No, it wasn't. Like, that's why whenever we get an episode like that the joke is literally nothing. I'm like, were you guys tired?
Yeah.
There are some episodes that do like I said, there's like the Attila the Hun one where the joke is that it's Jerry Lewis, but the other, like the framing device is sort of the bigger joke of like, oh, it's a Rashomon type story of all the characters like telling their own version of events. And another one I watched was the Houdini one, where it's like a parody of Batman, like the 60s.
And he's a supervillain? Yeah, that's pretty good.
The 60s Batman. And like that makes sense. This is like absolutely a lot of boomer humor in this. Like that's the exact demographic of the people that are making this. So like them doing like 60s Batman and everything, and for a second, like I didn't even know what they were doing or like why, because they start, they like Otto becomes Robin like pretty quickly in that episode, and then Larry immediately is like, oh, stop doing that, like. And I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? And then, like, a couple scenes later, I was like, oh, Batman. Future man.
So,
I got it.
Like, the thing is, though, I don't even, like, I think for a show with the premise of literally going back in time, I don't have an issue with the boomer humor. I think my issue is that I want to know who the fuck this was for.
Yes! That's my biggest note. That's my biggest fucking note with this entire series.
So like there's some episodes I think could work for any kid. Like I think like the episode where like, hey, here's Abraham Lincoln. Like I don't want to be Honest Abe anymore.
Yes.
I want to be dishonest Abe, and I'm evil. Great. That's a joke kids are gonna get because kids have learned about Abraham Lincoln, right? And then we have and I got to talk about this because I put this in the text chat.
Yeah.
The Freud episode where they talk to Freud, and I'm like, okay, all right, let's take a fucking minute, guys.
Kid knows Freud?
And just going to get the joke about
Freud
from
and then even the joke of, oh, it's the island of Dr. Moreau. It's like, what kid from the 2000s, like early, what kid?
They're big H.G. Wells fans.
Yeah.
Like, they're just...
What the fuck? It's like a double whammy of like, who the fuck was this for?
Yeah. I think the idea of like, oh, they're going to the psychotherapy. They're not going for the I want to fuck my mom angle because they can't do that on a kid's show.
Right.
But they are going for the hypnotherapy angle. And the joke being that, like, oh, the only way that he has found to, like, get people to get over their problems is by making them think that they're animals. Like, that's like a classic, like, hypnotherapy joke is like, you will become a chicken.
Yeah.
And then, like... This is one of those times where they do a lame joke, but it's they go so far with it that
they go in on it.
Yeah, it's like actually funny instead of being, like, okay, sure. Yeah,
the thing is, though,
they sure loved the elephant in that episode.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's like
the most.
Oh my god, I'm busting my gut, whatever. But like, it's like I could acknowledge that it was a funny, like,
they got a lot of funny ideas.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I think this Freud episode, what stands out to me at the end, is that they do actually know he's a weird guy about parental figures.
Yes.
Because the episode ends with this. Oh, by the way, Otto, by expanding that, Larry and Todd Russell's relationship will have an adverse reaction on you once you grow up as an adult. You'll be unable to find love, and you'll always think about them as you move through life. And I'm
really liked that.
Dog.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's a good joke. Who the fuck is that
what
for?
kid is going to think... Like, and then...
sick Freud reference, bro. Like,
yeah, right. Sick Freud reference, and then they do Da Vinci, and I was like, okay, that's a lot easier. What? Oh, a beatnik?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what all the kids think is funny and
Yeah,
know
exactly.
of is a fucking beatnik.
More boomer humor, more like, yeah, this is what I grew up with, so I know everybody else. It's like whenever they write like little kid characters, and they're like, yeah, they always like to go to the comic shop and read comic books. And it's like, what the fuck? What are you talking
Been
about?
outside in the past few decades? Like,
Yeah. Like
they do
maybe if you're doing it in the 90s, like, yes.
They do that
you know,
exact joke with Kubla Khan. They do that whole comic book joke with Kubla Khan.
Yeah,
Man, I truly... Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, that's one of those, like, this is definitely in the is this racist Venn diagram of,
and then I saw the cover of Chopstick Man.
Right, yeah.
And then I turned that episode off and decided I'm going to watch a different one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Confucius episode. Listen, look.
No, that episode gets the prize to me of... Well, I guess that wasn't as racist as I thought it would go.
That's how I felt about the Attila the Hun one, where I was like, oh, they didn't... They went for a different joke with...
Right.
You know, yeah.
But even then... Yeah, the way that, like, they can't decide if he speaks slightly broken English or is completely fluent. There's just a lot there. But go on, sorry. Wow.
Yeah, I think, like, the sense of humor in this show is so fucking weird. I think, but the thing is, like White said, it's not a show you're gonna be laughing at hard. But sometimes I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, you know,
yeah,
this will never be made again. And not because like it's offensive, nothing, just because like no one's gonna green like this because what the fuck is happening here?
I was thinking about like near the end, I was like, it's fun to think about a kid who would get interested in this show. And then I interrupted myself to say that Larry serves cunt. But then I was like, so like, imagine a kid who's like, oh, it's like a history show. And there are other history-based kid shows that are like educational type beat thing. You know, I get it. And then the kid would watch it and either get confused or angry. Because it's got next to nothing to do with any of it.
Yeah.
I think another, like, you would think there's some figures that are, like, off limits, or the joke, but, like, I think the funniest episodes are the episodes where the joke is less so that, like, one small thing has gone wrong, but more so that a historical figure has gone rogue.
Yeah.
I think the only episode I've ever, like, fully laughed at, the Albert Einstein episode did it for me real hard. Albert Einstein does like this, hey, come on down to Big Al's car salesman. Just like, I'm just like, wait, aren't you supposed to be a scientist? Do you know how much scientists make, kid? Used car salesmen make way more money.
It's just so much in that one. They gave the woman from the American Gothic portrait a dump truck in that episode.
God,
just pointing that out there. That was insane. That was just insane. But also, everything about that episode, it really clicked. Like, and also there were so many little things, like, in the commercial, the fact that he kept using, like, a mushroom cloud explosion was such a, like, oh my,
it's really dark. Like, it's, like, super dark. But this show needed, like, and I hate to say this, I hate to seem like a shithead, this show needed to be pushed onto Adult Swim and allowed to go real fucking crazy.
No, genuinely. It would have made a lot more sense. Also, I like that the second part of that episode was pretty nothing for the most part, but I appreciate that it started with what was basically, what's that movie, Marriage Story?
Yeah.
Or just Larry and Todd Russell. The most blatant, just like, they're married. We should be divorced, but we aren't.
That's like the Kylo Ren movie,
yes.
right? Like,
Yeah. Every day I wish I...
But that would have been really funny if you did quote it correctly.
Yeah, see, the thing, I don't know. I've actually seen that movie, which is fucked up because I don't remember.
Yeah.
Because it's also very funny. 1,000 memes came from that fucking movie. Like just reaction gifs. Scarlett Johansson's white woman dancing. It's so good.
Yeah. I do want to give a shout out to David Wasson, who is the creator of the show. And his only other show that he was developer on was the Cuphead show, a show that I, Wyatt Phillips, personally have no interest in ever watching in my entire life.
Yes,
because and there was a lot of discourse on the internet of people being like, you can't expect a TV show to be of the same quality of animation as these 30s cartoons, and I'm like, the game did it.
Well, then why are we making it? Why are we making it?
Why are we making it?
Yes, here's my thing that I'll say about the Cuphead show real quick, and this is nothing against David Wasson. I'm sure he just was sort of given it, or maybe whatever. I have no idea what happened with it, So this is nothing against his talent as a creator, but why would you take a game that's whole gimmick is, oh my god, it's a video game, but it looks like a cartoon from the 30s. That's crazy. That's the whole appeal of Cuphead. I mean, on top of, and then there's the deeper appeal of holy shit, this is hard as fuck. But the main core appeal is that idea. Why would you take a game like that and turn it into a show, and then have it be it's pretty good animation that kind of resembles 30s animation, a little bit, style wise. But I don't know. It just seems like such a waste of time and effort on all fronts.
Yeah.
But I wanted to point out that he was also involved in Star Versus.
Star Versus.
And that's a show that I enjoy, but has a lot of the same problems as Time Squad, in that a lot of the time it's cosplaying as funny. That's sort of the it's theoretically funny, but I'm not laughing that much at it.
If you break it down scientifically, it's funny.
Yeah, a joke happened. A joke happened in it, but
you can pick out all the funny particles that are in it.
Yeah. And you could theoretically reconstruct a funny thing, but it just doesn't fully erupt out, But so interesting creator, because he doesn't really have any history with the other Cartoon Network creators were people who worked at Hanna-Barbera right before Cartoon Network.
He's kind of separate in a way that's very strange for this time period of Cartoon Network, which credit to him for that.
Yeah, and then go ahead.
I do say Star Wars also has a lot of weird. Is this homophobic or progressive moments in it?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Do you have something to tell us, Dave? I don't know, but it's just a lot of He also, I found out, was he directed a bunch of the Buzz on Maggie, which is for no one but me.
That's another forgotten fucking
that's another cartoon that's funny in theory.
Those were the major kind of cartoon that got through to syndication on Australian TV.
Yeah.
No shit, it feels like it.
It's like how in America, all the anime that we got was early on was just complete trash that they could buy for super cheap. You know, so I imagine that the Buzz on man, those Disney cartoons of that era. That somebody should do a podcast about that. Not me, I am not going to do it, but somebody should do Buzz on Maggie and Brandy and Mr. Whiskers and Dave the Barbarian. Those shows. Anybody oh, dude, that was peak shit. Jake Long, I guess, is the only one I can think of that anybody cares about now.
But people online who have not seen a cartoon since before they could vote will say stuff like that. because
Yes.
I don't know. I think they're stupid.
Yeah. I also want to give a shout out to the main voices. Like we talked about Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah.
Already as Larry, but really, I honestly 100% genuinely have to give a shout out to Rob Paulson.
Rob Paulson, dude, he
Holy
came up with
fuck,
something
dude.
different.
Oh my god, it's a new voice. He did a different voice.
Why? The way I knew both of us were going to make a joke about this. The way I knew both of us were going to make a joke about it like this. Dude, oh my god, he's like, guys, I have a little bit of range if you allow me.
Yeah.
Like, he was like...
I can do a third voice, not just Yakko or Carl from Jimmy Neutron. Those are the two other voices he can do. And then now he can also do Tud Russell.
Hey, I know you're expecting like a from me, but I can also go actually.
Yeah.
So
and he's not, and it doesn't really sound like him doing like a
No.
tough guy voice.
No,
you
it
know,
doesn't.
Like you could,
it's
like,
very distinct.
yeah. Mm-hmm. When you hear like Tom Kenny or whatever, like you can be like, that's
Tom.
Even if he's doing even if he's doing like a crazy like Sumo from Clarence or whatever, like you can still be like, yeah, that's Tom Kenny, you know, like that. It still sounds like him, and like I don't know, it's just I'm impressed, Rob.
Yeah.
Like I underestimated you. But you did a good job here, and then of course Pamela Adlon as Otto.
I gotta say, Pamela Adlon is another voice actor that I think has like a very similar voice in all the roles, but I think she's mastered inflection and like performance because this voice isn't that far from like Spinelli from Recess. No. But just the inflection and how we're going about it. And I think that's where like the best voice actors live, where they can still do only one voice, but the way they go about it is how they change it up so much. And I think she does a great job here. Because there's some moments where I hear Otto getting frustrated and screaming, and I think that has to be murder on the vocal cords, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God,
like has to just be
like
absolutely painful.
Like obviously Bobby, I would say, is her most like well-known voice, and then like and then there's like there's the kid from the Oblongs. I don't know if anybody is.
Oh my God!
I love
right,
the
you're
Oblong.
right.
Yes, you're so right, bestie. You're so right.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, it's because it happens less nowadays. And like this is not for him as a person or anything. It's kind of nice hearing Mark Hamill just kind of be in something. And not be just Mark Hamill. It's not like, even if he's doing, you know, the gay voice, it's nice to hear him just not be in something, you know, like just be a guy. It's so interesting.
This was the era where he literally was just a voice actor, like because he was Joker.
He was all over the place.
In the 90s, you know, and like people like now are like, oh my God, Mark Hamill is the Joker. Holy shit, it's the greatest version of the Joker ever created by reality. And like, but in the 90s, people were just like, "Oh yeah, that's the cartoon Joker."
Yeah,
you know, like nobody.
That's Mark Hamill voice actor. Yeah.
Yeah, and then same thing with this, and then same thing with like even him as like Fire Lord Ozai and Avatar. Like he's just doing a voice. You know, he's just like, I'm talking like this. You know, like that's the. It's not like now where Star Wars is so mythologized and so like canonized in pop culture that like. He's Luke Skywalker. We all know him as Luke Skywalker. This was at a time period when, like, I mean, this was, like, right when the prequels started back up.
Right.
This was, like, when, like, right after, like, I would say in the 90s, Star Wars, like, the most dead it ever was.
Yeah. People were not yet pretending the sequels were really, really good. They haven't started, they won't start them for, like, another decade and a half.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've said this when... and I said it to you that I believe that within our lifetime, within like 10 years probably, people will think Rise of Skywalker is like an underrated gem.
Buddy, it's happening now.
Oh, yeah.
Because like, not to be mean to anyone who likes Star Wars, I think Star Wars fans might be, and I'm being honest here, guys, some of the dumbest motherfuckers to ever live on Earth. I think the way that like. They don't like Star Wars, but once a piece of Star Wars media is old enough, they can now go, actually this was good, even though they never liked it. They can only like things if it's through the lens of nostalgia. It's crazy.
It's the Star Wars fans in a general way, the average or just even just the most
The average
vocal
man
minority
who
at the
likes-
very
yeah.
least, is
Yeah.
like they have no one to blame but themselves for all of the specific ways that all of the new shows have been bad for the most part. Like,
Exactly.
other than the occasional one that decides to do something.
And whenever a show is good, they get mad that it's not like the big lore dump they want.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and then
if y'all
it's
don't
like, why
just
isn't
open
it
up
bad?
a Wikipedia, if y'all don't just open up a Wikipedia and leave me the fuck alone.
Genuinely, yeah.
The side thing, I do think, like, I don't know, Mark Hamill is a good voice actor, because I do love Skips also, and I think Larry's good. It's just nice to see him just in a role here.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, whereas with Rob Paulson, I'm like, I don't think he's a bad voice actor. I think he's just, like, a repetitive voice actor. Like, he just does the same thing, and he's leaning way too hard on, like, Yakko, when it's like, dude, fuck it. I guess there was a reboot of Animaniacs recently, but, like, it's just such an old reference. It just feels so pathetic.
Yeah,
Whereas,
fuck
like, you look
off.
at someone like, you look at someone like Jim Cummings, and it's like, you know, yeah, he'll go back, he'll do, like, Winnie the Pooh or whatever, he'll do Pete. But he has also, like, been, like, he was Boxman and OKKO, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, he's...
I do gotta say, side thing on voice actors, shout out to Darren Norris for being in the show as another robot that like Larry.
Yeah,
and we're hearing his first time being a homosexual robot, which will lead to him being Knockout. So shout out.
Yeah.
This opened the door for me, Morgan. I didn't know, like, this. I had the little, like, fucking you'll remember this moment, like, the Telltale game in the corner. When I heard him as a gay robot, I'm like, oh, this is going to come back again. Let's go.
I do. I like that idea. I think that they should have done that, like, a little bit more. The idea that there's, like, these other competing time squads that are...
with Todd Russell's ex-wife.
Yeah, that are, like, intermixing and whatever. Like, that sometimes they're, like, stuck on the same job or whatever. I know that's probably not what they wanted to do, but I feel like they could have done that more in, like, season 2. Then again, on YouTube, there was only, like, 6 episodes or whatever of season 2. So.
Yeah, there's a few more episodes they do it that's not on YouTube. I will say, side thing, why the fuck is the one woman time squad officer drawn like that? Dude, she is, like, horny as shit. Whoever was drawing her was doing the Kubo special of hiding her hand under the desk.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah,
you didn't see her, dude?
No.
Hold on.
Yeah,
I
by the way,
should have seen more of season 2 than I did, because I really mostly liked the season 2 episodes more for the most part.
I typed in Time Squad and Sheila was the first option, so we know how the internet feels.
Oh my!
Anyway,
I've seen. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but it's a cartoon. It's a cartoon from, like, this era. Of course, they're
Of
gonna
course,
like
yeah.
the female characters are gonna be, like, as horny as possible. If they're adults, they're going to be, like, as horny as possible.
Always.
Okay, so you say that, right? But it's only her. The Napoleon episode, Napoleon's wife looks very cartoony. Like,
Sure.
Napoleon's
Yeah, she
wife
looks
cartoony.
more like a genuine attempt at, like, that kind of French woman of that time.
Also, side thing, I was watching
Sure.
this in the living room, and my partner could not stop laughing at the deeply offensive way Napoleon spoke French.
Yeah,
Dude,
It's crazy.
I was like,
look,
what is this joke?
guys, by the way, excuse me for doing this. He goes, that's all he does.
I'm like, what on fucking earth is this? Like, honestly, it didn't even strike to me, just because it didn't even register as it making fun of French, even though it clearly is.
yeah.
It didn't even register because it was just that batshit to me.
Yeah,
Dude, it's
And
like,
that it was
it's like
just
it's-
him.
It's like an anti-Tim and Eric joke. I swear to fucking God.
we
Because everyone
finally
else,
found. Yeah, go ahead.
because there's no one else in the show. Everyone's French in that part of the show,
Yeah.
and none of them talk like that. And then Napoleon
Oh,
goes,
yes, Napoleon.
I was just gonna say that we finally found racism towards white people, so that's the.
It's
Honestly,
been hiding here the whole time.
Also, I will say that Napoleon episode is pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's one of the
Him, like,
better ones, yeah.
Him like, yeah, hey guys, Napoleon, his wife is being like too harsh on him. He's got to sneak out and do some conquest with the boys. So they keep sneaking out at night with swords and guns and conquesting places. Like, hey guys, look, we stole the Italian flag. Fuck the Italians. We stole Mona Lisa. And I'm like, this is really good.
Yeah.
Even the specific, like, joke and angle of, like, rich woman who doesn't know who she is and is just spending money going to classes that never work out is such a specific joke.
It's so good. I don't know. I want to say this show's mid, but whenever the show has a banger, I am like, man, there's some thought process happening here. I'm really into it.
Like the Abe Lincoln episode, I think, is one of the better ones because, like, I mean, one, it's like something that kids might actually fucking find funny, for starters. But I think the show excels. One of the main things that it's good at is taking a, historical figure, whatever, and just coming up with a stupid thing.
Yeah.
And, like, a very childish idea. Like, I love how immature it is that Abe Lincoln is just like, man, people think I'm a fucking square. I want to have fun, too, so I'm going to prank him. And that's his idea of being a bad boy, is just pranking people.
I also think whenever the joke sucks, it goes hard. Because, let me just say, the Montezuma episode is not funny. It's not funny. However, I was laughing my ass off. They go like, where's Montezuma, Hey, everybody, you can call me Monty. I'm a stand-up comedian. Let's talk about it. It's awful out here, buddies. It's awful. And he's just doing a shitty stand-up routine, and I'm like no, this is good. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is pretty good. This is pretty good.
It's such a bizarre show in, like, when it decides to be good and when it decides to just not give a fuck. Because, like, there are some odd misses, especially when it comes to, like, the specific historical figure. How the fuck are you fucking up a Caesar episode?
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you take... There are so many things you can do with Caesar specifically, Robin Hood as well. And you're just like, well, he's just kind of shit. And at the end, martial arts.
No,
what?
okay, look. You're right. But also, him doing his, like, Eminem, knees weak, arms is heavy in the hoodie, getting ready for the fight, was hilarious. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm just like, I was like rubbing shit like this. You got this, Caesar. Yeah, I guess I got this. And then it proceeds to be, it kind of goes crazy. Like, the Robin Hood episode is also not funny.
Oh my God.
This, like, I'm stealing from the poor and give it to the rich. You're supposed to do the opposite. Why would I do that? The rich have really good security.
Yeah.
It's like, like there are jokes there, and then it'll just, like, say it and then not do anything. I was like, well, but do something.
This show should have been post. Someone should have posted this on Twitter. Like, each episode's joke is a single tweet. And that's the show, and we're done. We don't need to watch it. Well, just like
that's what I was thinking earlier, where I was like, okay, this is based on Mr. Peabody and Sherman. That was like 2 or 3 minutes. Like, it was like very short segments in the middle of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Yeah. Like at the whatever the fuck J Ward hour of cartoon content. So like that's like the show is kind of designed to be that way, and that's why it feels like sometimes the jokes run pretty thin, is because they're like, okay, this is funny for like one scene, for like a blackout gag, but it's not funny stretched across an 11-minute episode with like A and B plots and all this stuff, like a normal structured, like a television show. Like, make it like, if this was in that, it's like what we were saying with Sheep in the Big City. It's fun, like, but that show I think is actually funny, like laugh out loud funny a lot of the times. It just goes on for 22 minutes each episode, and you're like, all right, stop, please. Just let's move on.
I think it's funny you bring up Sheep in a Big City, because I think the show does, like, you're right, it has similar problems. I think I might like this more than Sheep in a Big City.
Yeah, I think I like it like stylistically and concept wise, it's better. Like, I think it's
more to chew. It's more to chew on than Sheep in a Big City.
But it's a
Sheep
lot
in
of
a Big City has better jokes. But
yeah, it's a lot of potential and like not too much like achieving the full potential.
Yes. This is for me. Man, I gotta say, was not expecting to be as mixed on this one.
Yeah,
as I thought. I thought I was just gonna be like, "Yep, this is shit." Anyways. But like, no,
it really does show the big mantra that I always had about cartoons, which is it takes a lot for a cartoon to get one season. It has to either be sabotaged or like really, 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 really bad, right? 2 seasons is the perfect amount for a mid cartoon because that means there's enough to watch, but also no. Just don't do anymore. Yeah. Like
there's
this,
enough to watch. You can see it evolve. Like like the second season is like a step up in quality.
But we didn't need a third. We did that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It is a genuinely bizarre show, and I kind of appreciate it for that. Even though that's also like its weirdest, biggest problem is again at the end of the day, I know I can appreciate it. But kids at the time, there's no fucking way. There's just no way. They're genuinely, like, there are very few. Like, I don't doubt that there were some weird kids who were into it. But I feel like the direction they go with both the specific historical stuff and then also the kind of humor feels like it's so unbalanced where, like, if you know the history, you're at that age where you're probably starting to phase cartoons out for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
But see, I was a sicko.
But the humor is like too young, skewing half the time.
Yeah, yeah. And it's
or too old with boomer humor. One of the two.
Yeah, and it's weird because it does feel like they do get a little bit punchy or a little bit like, whatever. But it's never like. This show, comparing this show to, like, some other shows that we've already done, like Powerpuff Girls or Ed, Ed and Eddie or Courage, it's just, like, you can really see just how much lower of a show this is than those.
Yeah.
Like, whereas, some shows that were, like, a surprise to us, something like Mike, Lou, and Og, I would say out of all of the shows that are, like, we expected this to suck, and then we're
the mid Christmases,
like that was the best, and then like this, and then like Sheep in the Big City, or that. So I'd kind of rate it, but like, I would say it's mid, slightly above mid. Like that's kind of where I would put it. It's like worth checking out a couple episodes for sure, especially if you're familiar with the history or whatever involved, and the joke that they're pulling, because like the whole joke is like they're completely shitting on the actual reality of what's going on, but I don't know. So I guess like I do recommend it. I just am not like crazy about it. It is like it's funny when it's funny. Most of the time it's just like, oh, that's fun. I feel like even when I was like 8 watching the show, I was like, fun. Oh, that's fun. Like which is like, damn, that is kind of a depressing, review to give a comedy show,
Right, but I don't know. I think there are worse things to be than a perfect 6 out of 10.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I think this like I think we've not hit a cartoon yet that I think has no merit to watch. It's cool. I also think like we talked about the art style. Why you go?
I'm thinking. Wyatt? I think we have. I'm trying to remember.
What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it?
Cartoon.
My hot take is Cow and Chicken comes the closest.
Cow and Chicken is pretty close. Two Stupid Dogs did suck.
Oh no, but Secret Squirrel's part of Two Stupid Dogs.
That's
Come
true.
on.
Okay,
Secret Squirrel's
that was pretty good. The Moxie Show didn't really count because it wasn't really a show. So far.
We have not reached the show where I would say Morgan, that there's no reason to watch it. And Time Squad is another show. I'm not going to say that because I like the art style of it. I like the design of it. I like the way all the historical figures do a good job of looking for the most part. How they look, but a caricature. Like I think the Freud looks too close to Freud. It kind of fucks me up sometimes. I don't like how much that looks like Freud. But there's you should check this out. It's on YouTube. Watch a few episodes. See what you think about it. It's a weird show.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, going on the internet to try and find what people generally thought of this show is a nightmare.
Yeah, I bet it is.
I can't tell at all what the general consensus is, because you go on IMDb and overall it has like a 7.4, but then most of the individual episodes are like 5s.
Yeah.
And then you go on like a more specific website and they have episodes that are like on IMDb are like one of the most beloved episodes are like abysmally rated elsewhere. It's insane. I didn't get to watch it, but White House Weirdness / Nobel Peace Prize on IMDb it has an 8.4.
That's insane. It's just a shitty fucking Scooby-Doo episode.
And then on episode ratings and other places it's got like a 3.
That's true. That's correct. That's the truth. The truth is somewhere in the middle between humans. Let's go.
Although that same website also says that if I like Time Squad, I would also like the Dana Carvey show, Game of Thrones, Mr. Bean, and Dragon Ball Z. So
that's just shows. That's just TV shows. The thing is, though, here's the thing. If you want to know the general consensus of the opinion of Time Squad, then you should listen to Cartoon Buffoons, because we're right about every cartoon we've ever talked about.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So far,
we've never been
been
wrong.
Right about including Flintstones on the Rocks. It's not good, people.
Yeah,
Sorry.
No, that's pointless. Don't watch that. It is.
But that wasn't a show. That was
that's
a
true.
movie.
That's not a show. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a weird movie that was produced by Cartoon Network.
But I want all you guys to know, me and Wyatt have always been correct. Specifically me, but Wyatt also. So when we watch Adventure Time and I give my takes, and we watch Teen Titans and I give my takes, I want everyone to remember that I am right and you agreed to it by listening to this show. You've now agreed that I am correct. Ooh. So when we do Teen Titans, you can't argue with me.
Oh, you just lit a very long fuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, it'll lead to a big old fucking cart of dynamite.
Yeah. Speaking of Teen Titans, Broden, didn't you want to be on?
I absolutely do. Yes.
Yeah.
Broden would be holding me back like a dog on a fucking collar.
I'm curious to if I will hold you back as much as I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a couple months from now. I'll say that, because it's nine episodes or 8 episodes from now. Is when we'll be doing Teen Titans. But yeah, so just keep that in the back of your mind.
Absolutely.
Or watch that at some point. I think I'm gonna just I'm definitely. I don't know. Do I want to what do I want to do with Teen Titans? Do you want to
we're hitting action cartoons. We got to start watching most of the show now.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So, but our next show is Samurai Jack. That's a show
how the
where
fuck are we gonna watch that?
That's gonna be.
I think I'm just gonna find like a top 10 list of like the best episodes, and then just.
Oh my god, you watch Mojo shithead. I'm gonna watch the whole thing. I'm lying right now.
Yeah,
you are so
fucking do it. Do it.
Right.
And we will also be talking about the 5th season, just as part of the. Yeah, not like super specifically
touch.
But we're gonna touch on that. The other thing that we need to decide, I don't know if we need to decide this on the podcast, but whatever, we're still recording, so you are all going to hear this. But we have Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne coming up. Morgan, you suggested that we move Billy and Mandy to later because it ends a lot later than Evil Con Carne, which kind of ends like a year or two after it begins. So we do Evil Con Carne first, because that comes and goes before Billy.
Yeah, because Billy and Mandy just kind of keeps it's new. It's air quote new show. The new show isn't really a new show. It just keeps going from Evil Con Carne. So I feel as though we shouldn't take the time to separate them. I mean, to do them together. We should just do Evil Con Carne about the little bear, and then when we do Billy and Mandy, we take into account these episodes. That's it.
Yeah. So my compromise is that I'm not going to make it too far ahead. But I did put a few episodes between Evil Con Carne and Billy and Mandy. So we have Justice League, the Cramp Twins, Robot Jones, and of course, Baby Looney Tunes.
Fuck off. I don't want to watch Baby Looney Tunes. No.
Wyatt will push this agenda.
Dude, I hate the way. Why do some of them wear diapers and some of them don't? I hate it. I don't want to.
Second, the problem is, I was like, okay, we're gonna do all these shows that were made for Cartoon Network, and then there's some other things here and there. I mean, there are definitely a couple shows that we're not going to do. I think we've decided that we're not doing Chop Sucky Chooks. Because that's
I'm not doing Chop
What
Sucky
a shame.
Dude,
Yeah.
if you guys don't just take your fucking ass to Pan Pizza for that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. That's Pan's job.
That video is so funny because I remember him posting before the video came out. He was like posting about like, oh yeah, I emailed one of the creators, like the art director or whatever of the show, and got like a bunch of information. And the guy was basically like, oh yeah, we were like taking from like 70s like blaxploitation and kung fu movies and that kind of stuff. We wanted to be like a throwback to that era, and then like he put that in the review, and like the review in general, he was like, yes, all these stereotypes are very racist now. It came from a genuine place of like appreciation for this type of film and story and whatever, but maybe it wasn't their place to make it.
Yeah.
Like, didn't really, like, come out at the creators and say, like, you guys are racist. Like, he didn't.
Yeah, Pan
really
was very nice about it. Not like I would have.
And the guy was, like, constantly messaging him in his email, being like, you gotta take this fucking review down. You're slandering me. I could lose my job, that kind of thing. Like, I am not racist. I'm the least racist person that I know. And it's like... Jesus
Things famously said by people who are not racist. Let me just say, this is why we can't do it, because if we did it, Wyatt, I would come and say, I think this show is racist and anyone who created it is racist. I would just say it. I was like, I think you guys would feel so at home at like a rally where they wear like blankets. That's what I'm going to call it right now. So please leave me alone.
So we're not doing that. But that's But we are doing shit like, Crypto the Super Dog. We're doing that. We're doing fucking Baby Looney Tunes, I guess. We're doing the Justice League soon, which is that's a big thumbs up.
One of my favorite. Yeah, I'm gonna be annoying, but
baby.
But I do think like maybe one day I'll make like a big graph and we get to cross it off and I'll post it somewhere. But yeah. Any final thoughts on Time Squad, Broden or Wyatt?
Yeah, Broden, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I think ultimately, I mean, for me in general, the show almost to a degree works because it doesn't. Mm-hmm. Like, because I'll be honest, as much as, it's like insane the idea of thinking of a kid watching this and being like, I like this. At the same time, if it wasn't like this, nobody would remember it at all.
That's a good point. It would be nothing.
But it's so like, I appreciate that this was a time period where you could just make a fucking show basically for yourself almost and just put it out there, and you'd get maybe 2 seasons, and that's nice. Yeah. That's neat. Like, hey, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. I appreciate a lot of the episodes where they go off the beaten path and do some like cabin fever shit. That was fun.
Yeah.
I appreciate them making an episode about Mr. Neurosyphilis himself, Al Capone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I really appreciate the time when Todd Russell said, and I'm quoting here to Larry, I ought to refill you.
Dude,
which just has a lot of implication.
Dude, yeah. No. Well, the implication is that like if this was Omegaverse, I'll stop. Wyatt, any final thoughts about Time Squad, Wyatt?
I think it sums it up very well to just say like it's a show that it can be enjoyable. I mean,
fuck, man. Oh, praise, the high praise here.
This motherfucker said, this is a show that a human can enjoy.
It sure could be enjoyed.
Dude, hey, Wyatt, bring it back. Let's not be biased in the favor of this fucking show or anything. Jesus Christ.
But,
this energy on this episode.
But, there are things about it. I like the world and stuff. Like, I think it's a good concept. And like I said, it could be funny if it was like shorter episodes. It's just like it sticks around just long enough, and it's just like not funny enough to be like a show that really stands out above the rest as like you gotta go out of your way, or like it doesn't even need to be like something like Courage is not like consistently laugh out loud funny. It's just so unique and so like tonally like varied and everything. Like I guess it needed a little bit more of that. It just feels like I don't know. It's very similar to some later shows where it's like, why did this, like, it's kind of like a mistake that this got made, you know? Yeah. I know that sounds mean. I'm not necessarily saying it's bad.
But it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit.
It just doesn't have enough going for it. You know, it's like another show that we won't be doing, Mighty Magiswords, where it's like, this shouldn't have been made into a show.
Yeah. For different reasons, but yeah.
But yes, that's my wrap it up. So Morgan, do you have any final thoughts?
Dude, I don't know, man. This show is a solid show. I think it's cool that Humans made it, and I probably will revisit it every so often. I'm gonna one day figure out if the show's gay or homophobic. I have to figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm going to the laboratory. I got the beakers and shit out. I'm gonna really figure it out with some real science. But I think that's good. I don't want to overtalk Time Squad. Thank you, Time Squad. Thank you for existing.
Yeah.
I'm shocked we got this much content out of Time Squad. Like that's like
a little bit, yeah. Again,
we
like,
didn't even.
It was the most unexpected show for me generally.
And there's a couple elements of Cartoon Buffoons that didn't come up in this episode. I'm not going to bring attention to them, so we're just going to move past it and say, Morgan, Broden, you're the guest, so where can we find you?
Before you go, Broden.
Yeah.
Return the means of production back to the people.
God damn it.
I have a hammer and sickle. Why you can't shush me? Capitalism will end in our lifetime. I promise you. Okay, go ahead.
I'm shocked that they didn't do like did they do
the Betsy Ross episode? She talks about how like the America and the democracy would eventually turn just to capitalism. And would erode and just be a shadow of its former self. And Otto is like, oh, no, she's kind of right.
Thank you, Sister Betsy. You're so true, bestie. Go ahead, Broden. What do you got? Where can we find you, Broden?
Well, the only real place that I am looking to, God, please, soon, do stuff on would be my YouTube channel. At the moment, it's called The Only Broden. Because that's true, I am the only one. Don't look into that.
Like Tigger.
Okay.
Yes, I am the only one.
I'm on Twitter at the Wasp Ranger, WAZP Ranger. Mostly stream of consciousness stuff, but sometimes I post about this podcast. Sometimes I post about YouTube videos if I ever decide to do them. If you want to check out those YouTube videos, go on over to It's Only Magic. And there's a bunch there already. And if you're already here on the YouTube channel because you're listening to the podcast, thank you for listening to it. If you want to get the next episode on Samurai Jack right now, just donate at the $5 level on Patreon. Also, It's Only Magic. And you can get all these episodes a week early. You can get Cody and I are finally doing more of our classic Doctor Who podcast, so you can get that. At the $1 level, though, if you only have $1 to spare, you still get Wow Cool Robot, me and my friend Wayne, a.k.a. Bolt Creature, going through and reviewing every single robot in existence. 5 to 10 minute episodes. It's a lot of fun. There's like 90 episodes at this point, so you have a long back catalog of bite-sized episodes to go through. And also at the $1 level, you get all of Shit Shooters, which is our very, very infrequent podcast where me and another guest just talk about what we've been doing for the past week. And we bring a couple topics, and sometimes sometimes we get like 1 or 2 topics in. Sometimes it can be a lot, but whatever. You just gotta go and listen to it and find out. But anyway, that will do it for this week's episode of Cartoon Buffoons. Broden, thank you again for joining us.
My pleasure.
We'll
see you back.
We'll see you back at the Teen Titans episode. I'm sorry. I'm sure that's one that like a lot of people would want to be a guest on, but nepotism wins. So we're doing
I'm special.
Yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
yeah. No, genuinely.
Yeah. But join us next time. We go back to the past to play the shitty games that suck ass with Samurai Jack. See you there. Sucked on my sack, Samurai Jack.
A buffalo.